that he's home when I do so that I can go reset it. But yeah, so now I've got a little task in front of me while I clean this all up. Woohoo! Hey everybody! So I've ran into my first problem today, and that is insufficient dust collection power. Now, so I've got this dust collector. You may have seen the video, and it's only been I've only had it for a couple of days. But if you look down here, you can see some stats on it. So it runs at 550 watts, which is apparently not enough for some tasks. So this is the sawdust along with what's still left in the machine, and in here it's all collected. I was planing a big piece of pine, this one right here, and it was just too much dust too fast, I think. I probably should have been taking less off. I think I was going for, well, I did one full turn of the adjustment lever. Normally for like oak, I do maybe like a third of a turn. And I thought, well, you know, pine's a lot softer, and you know, the planer handled it brilliantly, just fine. But yeah, the dust collection wasn't up to snuff, and so now I have kind of a mess. But yeah, so that's one thing to be. I guess that's one of the downsides of buying a lower wattage or a lower power dust collection system. But like I think I talked about this in the other video. I don't really have a choice because I have one electrical outlet that has to supply everything. All the power for my workshop comes from there. And I don't know how many amps are on that circuit. Because the fuse box is in somebody else's house. The guy that I'm renting this garage from. So, you know, I'm going to assume that I can pull, I don't know, 3,000 watts. If I have the dust collector and the table saw on at the same time, the lights dim ever so slightly. So hopefully I won't break a fuse, and if I do, I hope that he's home when I do so that I can go reset it. But yeah, so now I've got a little task in front of me while I clean this all up. Woohoo! Okay, so I just recorded a 5-minute video, and then I realized at the very end of it that I was recording it in slow motion, so there won't be any audio. So now I'm going to try to remember everything I just said and say it again, this time recording it. I figured out what the problem is with the blower, and it's got this filter on the bottom of it. You can see right there where the air intake is. And these shavings that are coming off of the pine are really long. You get like these really long pieces, and when I just pulled the hose off a second ago, you had a big clump of this stuck right at the intake, and it lost all of its suction. So it wasn't actually in the hose, but it was right there at that, I want to call it a filter, but it's, you know, look at it, like, it's not much of a filter. It's just a couple of pieces of plastic holding the, you know, отверстие, holding the hole open. So that's a problem that is going to be, inherent to that design and that power level of, I can only run 550 watts because I don't have a lot of power out here. Actually, I don't know how much I have, but I've got one outlet and I don't want to pull more than, maybe 3,000 watts from it. So what is this planer? Does this planer have a sticker that's easily accessible? Yeah, oh no, that's just the Who Made It sticker. It's got a sticker on there somewhere, I forget where. It says how much it uses. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so this thing is 230 volts. This thing's 1.5 kilowatts, so 1,500 watts. Plus so I'm pulling over 2,000 watts. Plus you've got the lighting. It's all LED, but still a little bit, probably 30, 40 watts of LED lighting. Maybe 60 even, because I got those two bulbs. But anyway, so now I could redesign this using some of those those huge water jugs, those big plastic water jugs, and make a cyclone style so that it won't clog up like that. But that's a project for another day. So I can tell that these bags are not going to last terribly long. That's that one pine board I did, which is this one right here, and then I did a little bit of oak, and these two are also oak, and I get to look at this oak. The planer's doing a fine job. It's nice and smooth. It's not as perfect as I got when I was using professional tools, the professional quality tools, but it's definitely what I would call a sanding error. You sand that thing down, nobody's gonna notice. Good enough. So I'm getting a better look at this oak now that I've cleaned it up a bit. And it's got some cracks in it, but that's to be expected. The thing that really worries me is that this oak has been sitting outside for a really long time, and my neighbor wants to sell it to me, and there's 2 square meters of it. I moved it in here myself because they said I could have it, and then after I moved it, they came back and said, I'll sell it to you. So now I don't know what I want to do with it. If I'm not going to buy it, do I put it back outside? That's a lot of work. That's a lot of oak. They are selling it super cheap, but I'm not sure if it's cheap enough because it's just not in good shape. It's been sitting outside for at least a year. It rains a lot here. It wasn't even covered with plastic or anything. There's rot on some of the pieces. And there's some worm damage. Here you can see the worm damage on this piece. Right here, you can see where those little worms have been getting in there and eating away at oak. Really? And that must be like, me eating kale. Doesn't want to go down easily. So anyway, I have to figure out how much I'm willing to pay for this oak. But the dust collector is going to have to be a little bit temperamental until I can set up some kind of a cyclone system and figure out how that's going to work. I do like the fact that I've got it's more powerful than a vacuum cleaner, and a vacuum cleaner, like we've got the vacuum cleaner inside that's 1,800 watts, and it doesn't move as much air with as much pressure as that thing does. So I'm still glad that I've got this and the motor and everything set up the way it is, but I think there's some improvements that I can make by tinkering, and that will be another episode and something I have to plan for. Future projects, gotta love them. There's always something to do. So anyway, the lesson of today is take care of your wood. Don't leave it outside. It doesn't want to be outside. Or if you do put it outside, give it a little piece of plastic. Put something over it to protect it from the elements. And take care of each other. I'm Dylan. I'd really appreciate a like right there. a subscribe over there. I'm probably pointing to the wrong side of the screen. But anyway, take care of each other, and I'll see you next time.